revise it and turn it in for real on the due date. Use me as much as possible. And if email is too slow or whatever, we can definitely set up a time to chat via Skype or some other method as well. But I'm here to sort of help learning and guide learning as best as possible, so I'm always looking for ways to do that. That being said, let's cruise through the syllabus real quick, and then you are free for the week to write your one-page introductions and throw them up on the web when we get that going. Supposing that our website technical issues aren't resolved until later in the week, I'm not interested in a specific due date this week. So if you can get those written and posted by Thursday, supposing our website is up and running, that would be fantastic. If it's Friday, that's fine as well. I want them up before Sunday if possible. Again, assuming our website is up. So a few issues. Again, you should each have the syllabus, so follow along with me if you will. If you've printed it out or whatever, just refer back to it. We have 4 primary textbooks that we're going to be reading, and then a few essays and online sources to access as well. The full texts are Sigmund Freud's Civilizations and Its Discontents, Kierkegaard's Fear and Trembling, Nietzsche's The Antichrist, and Paul Tillich's The Dynamics of Faith. Now not each of them, but several of these full texts can be found online with a little bit of Google savviness. So if you don't want to go out and buy the texts, or you already have, I'm sorry to tell you this now, but you can probably find those online easy enough, and that's fine with me. One of the optional texts for the class that you can use for a final project, and we're going to talk more about the final project later on in the course as we proceed, is Alexander Solzhenitsyn's One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich. A fantastic little text, and if you choose to use that one for the final project, hopefully you can read that and apply some of our theorists that we've discussed throughout the course. Again, we'll get into that a little bit later. You see my breakdown in sort of assignments and evaluation. So 10% is for participation decorum. Now that's not a traditional participation grade. Because we're an online class, we're meeting online, we're having weekly discussions, your presence in our weekly discussions is going to be where your participation comes from. So the 10% decorum grade is, as you can read in the description, is really based upon how you conduct yourself week to week and engage conversation. If you are just kind of absent, you're not there, you're kind of posting or whatever, then that's going to affect a little bit of that decorum grade. But more so, the decorum grade is really built into the syllabus in such a way to help us be mindful of the types of conversations that we have. Talking about issues of belief and unbelief can, for some people, dig into some deep issues, thoughts, emotions of what it means to be human and how you as a student are wrestling with these subjects. So I don't want to take the class flippantly. That doesn't mean we can't have fun and joke around or whatever. But to treat each student with respect and to honor people's ideas, thoughts, and emotions that come out in our weekly discussions. This is what is important to me. Student question is another 10% of our grade, and that is each student, and I'll have the sign-up sheet up and running soon. I don't have it built yet. But I would like each week of the semester, of the summer semester, that we have an online discussion to be led by 2 or 3 students. That means you've read the material beforehand, and by Saturday night at midnight, the deadline says, you're to have posted discussion questions for the rest of the class to engage in discussion. Those are going to be based upon the readings, what comes up for you, and I leave that wide open. What do you find interesting? Which may mean on those weeks where there are 2 or 3 students presenting, you may have to run your questions by the other students in your group, so there's not a ton of overlap. you know, so that we're asking a variety of questions and not the same question 2 or 3 different ways. So that's the student question grade. Again, weekly posts are going to be the bulk of the class, the bulk of the assessment for the class as well. Each week, and I think there's like 4 or 5 weeks that we're actually not doing discussions, you're going to be required to respond to the questions posed by the other students who are in charge of that week. So if the students who are leading post their questions on those discussion boards by Saturday night, that gives you all of Sunday and all of Monday to have done the reading and to come up with some sort of response, which is generally 250 to 300 words, about 1 page, double-spaced, to respond to the questions, to answer the question in some way. Now these responses are not intended to just give us the facts of what the author said. Now I want you to engage the authors, and if you're not in your initial response to the student-led question, quoting the author in some way, I don't get a sense that you've read the material for that week. So you need to quote the authors that we've read, right? And quote them in a substantive way that moves sort of the conversation forward so that this can actually become a discussion. And what this means is there shouldn't be a lot of overlap. There can be some, right? Some overlap in responding to questions is inevitable. But I don't want 6 students to reply with the exact same quotation or the exact same thought in relation to what, you know, to the initial discussion prompt. Should have some variety, should bring about and expand our understanding of that question. So you'll respond to the initial question by Monday night. Whew, there goes the lights again. By Wednesday, so Monday night, so by Wednesday night, you should have read over the discussions again and responded at least 1 time. That's all I'm actually grading you for. With a response of at least 100 words to further the conversation again, right? So we'll get the hang of this as we go, and I'm a little bit more lenient in the first couple of weeks as we sort of understand how the rhythm of the class functions. But by Wednesday, post a response. You're only, again, required to post 1 response, but you're more than willing and more than encouraged to respond more than 1 time. Especially, that's what makes conversation good. We have, let's see, 2 other things real quick. We have 2 thematic essays, and I will give you prompts, or we can derive those prompts for what we're going to write about as we go along. So we'll talk more about those later. And then the final assignment for the class is you will each turn in some sort of final project. And the final project, again, we're going to talk more about as that deadline approaches. But if you want to write a standard academic paper, I more than encourage you to do that. If you want to, instead of writing a standard paper, write a short story about themes in the course. Do a piece of art, drama, anything that you find meaningful and can get some life out of. That's what I want the final project to be. Again, we'll talk more about that as we go. You can read over my other policies. Same policies for face-to-face classes apply. So turn your work in on time. That's not only for your benefit with your grade, but also so that your students, other students in the class, have, you know, a discussion to read and to reply to, right? So if you haven't submitted, then it's to the detriment of the other students in the class as well. I'm also going to be looking at issues of plagiarism, and if you have any concerns with disabilities or access, please converse with me and the disabilities department at the university. The class withdrawal policy, the last day to actually drop the course is May 13th or something like that. The last day to withdrawal with no refund is July 27th. So pretty much you'll know by near the end of the summer, near the end of the course, whether or not it's worth it to continue the class or not. With that said, I leave you. Thank you for enrolling in the course. I look forward to this. I won't do a video introduction every week. Some of my lectures will be video, some of them will just be taped. But I like a little variety, so we'll change it up every once in a while. And again, as we go throughout the course, if something just isn't working, something is really hindering or blocking your learning in the class, distracting, like a green blackboard, I don't know what it is, let me know. And I'm willing to make changes to figure this out. So, happy reading with our Aquinas for next week. I do look forward to reading your introductions and learning a little bit about who's in our class once our website gets up and running. So thank you. Have a good week.